Item number 6, Mr. Blanchard, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that Resolution 2009-072, amending the City Code of Ordinances, Section 30.21, filling of council vacancies and declaring a 30-day public record be approved.
Second.
Ms. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Several months ago, the City Council had a work session where you discussed the process of filling vacancies when they became open on the City Council. And although there was the issue regarding filling vacancies on taking out the stagger could not be resolved because of a previously approved ballot initiative by our community, there was one thing that came up in your last process that the council asked that be fixed in your resolution, in your ordinances, and that was simply to take out the limitation that currently exists as to the number of finalists that you are allowed to interview during the process. Currently, your ordinance makes that a maximum of 5 applicants, and this amendment would take out the 5 and allow the council to select the number of finalists that it deems appropriate for the particular selection process at the time. So that's all that this particular amendment does. And again, it's in keeping with your request from a work session a few months ago.
Okay. Council comment? All in favor? It's unanimous. Item number 7, Mr. Hampton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2009-067, abandonment of Queens Way, be approved.
Second.
Mr. Herwig.
First, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final step, if approved this evening, in a process that's been going on for some time to request an abandonment of a portion of property where we're located here. This is State Route 90, State Route 92, this is the Indian Hills Plaza, and the area that we're talking about is immediately to the east of it on this drawing, a little bigger drawing here. Over the years, this portion of Queens Way has come to the council several times. Years back, the portion down here was abandoned at the request of the property owners. On the south side of the wash, this portion was also abandoned. And so the area that we're talking about this evening pertains to the park just immediately south of State Route 90. The proposal before you, here again now, this is the area that we're talking about here, has been requested by the owners of the property here and here as a result of their development that's beginning to take place here and is proposed for the portion just to the east of it here, and their work with the Arizona Department of Transportation. As you know, of course, ADOT controls State Route 90 here, controls the access, and as they began to work with them, they found that ADOT wanted them to close this particular access point and to create a different access point farther down here, more in alignment with the one that goes in by the Fry's gas station. They worked on this for some time, the 2 different property owners, and as a result of that, worked out a procedure to request the abandonment of this part, and then the property owner to the east will create an easement across their property in their future development, which would allow access from the Savannah Springs apartments that are beginning construction out to State Route 90, and of course anybody coming into that area would also be able to come in this way. Access would continue here. This is where the traffic light is here. And of course, there's also access to the west on State Route 92, which goes into Indian Hills Plaza, and then you can also be able to drop down into Savannah Springs. As I said, this came about as a result of their discussions with and request by the Arizona Department of Transportation, and so this has worked its way through the process. It was most recently considered by the Planning and Zoning Commission, who held a public hearing on this and did unanimously recommend it to you for approval. One of the questions that, of course, comes up is what if there's a problem down the line? This came up at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and as this is under ADOT control, if they feel there's a problem at some point in the future that the light here doesn't provide enough sort of staging of traffic, they obviously retain the option to create a median through there, which would, of course, begin to change the flow through that particular area. Mr. Detleve from Buck Lewis and Associates, who represents the applicants in this request, is here this evening, and I'm certain he can answer any questions you may have.
Council questions or comments? And I'll mention to the public that in fact the council has been through this in a work session, and our silence does not by any means indicate disinterest. We hashed this over pretty good, especially the non-signaled access onto Highway 90 for both left and right-hand turns. But nonetheless, convinced that we have it where we want it for the time being. This is the way it's being presented. Any comments? All in favor? And it's unanimous. Turning to new business, item number 8, Mr. Mueller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2009-073, revising the Library Advisory Commission bylaws, be approved.
Second.
Mr. Gunkel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, ladies and gentlemen. The resolution before you this evening recommends minor changes to the bylaws of the Library Advisory Commission. The most recent change in the bylaws was approved by the City Council in October of 2004. The Library Commission believes these minor changes will result in a document that more accurately reflects the policy of the Mayor and City Council with regard to the role and responsibilities of the Library Advisory Commission, and I'd be glad to respond to any of your questions.
Any questions, comments? All in favor? Thank you, Mr. Gunkel. Item number 9, Mr. Hampton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2009-074, authorizing the application for the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety Grant Funds, be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. or Deputy Chief Lehman.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, approval of this resolution will authorize the police department to seek from the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety approximately $17,504 in reimbursable grant funding. This grant requires no match funds. The grant funds will use to purchase 4 in-car video camera systems to be put into patrol cars for officers that participate in the Southeastern DUI Task Force.
Okay. Comments and questions? All in favor? It's unanimous. Item number 10, Mr. Blanchard.
Mr. Mayor, I move that Resolution 2009-075, authorizing the application for the Sierra Vista Police Department to apply for Justice Assistance Grant Funds, be approved.
Second. Okay. Chief Alina.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, approval of this resolution will authorize the police department to apply for U.S. Department of Justice Assistant Grant valued at $67,764. This grant requires no matching funds. Recently, the police department has applied for a COPS grant to pay for the salary and benefits of 1 new police officer position, as well as 1 existing unfunded vacant officer position. The grant funds from this resolution will be used to purchase the equipment needed for the 2 police officers positions.
Questions? All in favor? It's unanimous.